Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti. I am MrPhotographer.com. A few days ago, I did a video demonstrating how to create a photo montage using Photoshop. If you haven't seen that video, I'll have a link to it in the description below this video. Today, I want to demonstrate how to create a photo montage using Lightroom. And we're going to create this montage with 3 different images of primates. The first is this horizontal image of a western lowland gorilla. Next is a vertical image of a golden lion tamarin. And finally, we have a vertical image of a Japanese macaque. My idea for this montage is that it's going to be a vertical image. At the top will be the horizontal image of the western lowland gorilla, and below that will be the 2 images that I have vertical next to each other. That is the golden lion tamarin to the left, and to the immediate right of that will be the Japanese macaque, and both of those will be below the western lowland gorilla. Now, to create a montage in Lightroom, use the print module. The print module can be kind of intimidating. I'm going to try to explain it as simply as I can. Now, first of all, whenever you're using the print module, you're going to be using it to print to a specific size paper. So that's what you have to put in the settings or tell Lightroom first. What size paper are you printing to? And I should add, you could create a montage not only for printing, but for sharing online as well. If you have a specific site you use to share your images and you want to have a montage of images, you could use the print module for that as well. The thing still is you have to decide the dimensions of your montage. And in this case, it's the page. What is the size of the page? To do that, go over here to Page Setup. Now, I have in my mind that I'm going to create a relatively large print, specifically 16 by 20. So if I go to the paper size, you'll notice that there isn't a size 16 by 20. So I have to create a custom size for that. So we'll do that, and we click this little plus sign first, and we'll get the default name Untitled. I'm just going to click on that and change that to 16x20. So I know that's my 16 by 20 size. And of course, then it's going to be vertical. So the width will be the 16 and the height will be the 20. Now, as far as margins are concerned, I want a 1/2 inch margin going all the way around because I plan on framing this within a mat. So I want the mat to cover up the margin and not cover up the actual images of any of the primates that I have on this montage. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change all these different margins to 0.5. Just like that, we'll click OK, and now it's in here 16 by 20, and we'll click OK. So there is our paper size. Now we have to arrange the images of the primates onto the paper, and you just don't drag them up there. You have to put placeholders on there first. Now, my recommendation to you is that you use placeholders that are in the same dimensions or the same aspect ratio of your images. All these images are in the 2:3 or 3:2 aspect ratio. The western lowland gorilla is horizontal, so it's 3:2. The other 2 are vertical, so they're 2:3. The main reason why you want to do that is if I put, let's say, a square holder in here, let's say a 4x4 or 5x5, when I drag a 2:3 aspect ratio image into it, it's going to get cropped off on either end. I already did my cropping. I don't want the print module to crop for me. So I want to put the exact size ratio placeholders in there. Now, if you look over here to the right, you'll see cells. These are the placeholders, that's what I call them, that I'm talking about. And you'll notice there isn't a 2x3 or a 3x2, but there is a 4x6. That's the same ratio. So, you could just do the math in your head, right? So 2 by 3, 4 by 6, same thing. So we're going to click on that. So this is going to be the placeholder for the Western lowland gorilla, and I want this on top, and it is a landscape image, so it's going to stay in this landscape orientation. I just have to center it, put it up against that top margin, and what I don't want to do is just don't grab a handle and make it bigger, because you'll lose your aspect ratio. What you need to do is hold the shift key in and then drag on the handle and make it larger. And now you can see that I have it going right to the margins, and that is where the Western lowland gorilla will reside. Now I'm going to put those 2 vertical images below that. Those 2 are in the 2:3 aspect ratio, so I'll add one here. Unfortunately, when I clicked on it, you could see it's horizontal. I need it vertical. So just rotate the cell, just like that. And while I'm here, I might as well add the second one as well. So I'll click on that again. And again, I need to rotate it. Now these we need to try to center in here so it looks appealing, for lack of a better way. So just let's start with one. Hold the shift key and grab this bottom handle. I want them to try to be as large as possible, but I still want it to look decent. All right, so we'll move this way, hold in that shift key and drag. All right, now how should we place this? These are as large as I could get, because I do want a little bit of space between the top image and these bottom 2 images. So I don't want them any larger than this. So I could put them real close together to one another. I could try to spread them out. There are guidelines here. If you don't see them, they're right here. You could see that you could turn them all off at the same time or all on. There's rulers at the top and the side. There's the page bleed. That's the part at the end. You can see it's a little bit grayed compared to the white paper in the middle. There's the grid itself that helps you place them. I like that for placing these. The image cells themselves, which aren't applicable here, and dimensions, which aren't applicable here. So we'll try to put these where it looks kind of neat. And you could use these guides to help you make sure they're, let's say, equidistant or exactly where you want them. I have this one from the margin 4 blocks over, and from the margin 1, 2, 3. This one's not quite 4. That's more like it. All right, now all you need to do is drag your images into these placeholders. So I'll start out with the Western lowland gorilla and just plop it right there, and you can see it popped right in. It didn't crop any of the image away because I used the exact placeholder that has the exact aspect ratio for the image. And I'll take the golden lion tamarin and put it there, and the Japanese macaque and put it there. All right, now let's turn all these guides off and take a look at it. Does that look all right? I don't know. Well, I could experiment. I could move these around with the images in there and just try these like at the far outside. Turn the guides off. I don't like that either. Maybe move them in a little. Maybe like that more. Throw those guides off again. I guess it looks okay. I mean, it's hard to get this the way I guess I like it, but anyway, that's not bad. Now we have some other things we could do here. We have a photo border. If you want to put a border on, you could see that it's putting this white border around there. I already have white all around it, so I don't need that. We have an inner stroke, which kind of gives it just this kind of black framing around it. If you want that, I do not want that either. And then I should add, of course, I live in the United States, and we use imperial units. We're like 1,000 years behind the time. And I'm used to using inches. So if you'd prefer to use a metric system, you have the option to do that as well. Grid snap to cells. These are when you're actually moving these images around, how they snap to the cell or snap to the grid, or you could have that off totally. Also the background color. I'm having white because I am putting this on, I'm printing it to paper and I want that white there. I don't want a color border, but if you are sharing this online, let's say, you may prefer to use a color. To do that, turn that on, click on this little swatch, and then you could pick like a shade of gray or something. You could see how it's adding it mainly here because I have nothing around the gorilla, no space to spare there, but I prefer just using the white. And if you want identity plate or your copyright on there, you could do that as well. I don't want that on there. See how it's right here. Or you could put a watermark on there. I don't use watermarks, stuff like that, if you want. I'm kind of happy with it the way it is. This is the montage the way I want it to be. So what I could do now is over here on the right, because I don't have a printer set up on this computer, the print button is grayed out, but I'm going to print it to a file. And then I could take this file and I could send it to a lab to be printed, or I could take it to a printer that or a computer that does have a printer set up on it. And I could just click here and print it to a file. And once it does its thinking, you could see that spinning pinwheel of color. And we'll just give it a name. I'm going to just call it my montage. All right, I could call it my monkey montage, but I think my montage is good, and we'll save it right to the desktop. You see there's no suffix on there. It's already going to be automatically a JPEG. All right, and you'll see in the top left, it's preparing the print job, as it called it. Lower that, and here it is right here. Here's our montage. And there's our image ready to be printed. Just as simple as that. The print module in Lightroom is kind of intimidating, but if you go slow and kind of think it through and kind of plan ahead, know what size paper you're going to be using ahead of time, crop your images accordingly to the correct aspect ratios ahead of time, the print module will be a lot easier for you to utilize for something like this. Thank you, everyone who watches my videos. I really do appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys soon.